So saving for the unexpected, we talk about this in a couple of different ways. Obviously, there's saving for an emergency. There's also saving for fun opportunities. So we are here today with Chelsea. Chelsea, tell me about a time where you had an emergency arise and you weren't necessarily prepared to take care of that emergency.
In most cases, I feel pretty well prepared. Every so often, something will come up and it's like, ooh, I wasn't anticipating that. The pandemic is a prime example, right? Like, on one side, I had enough savings to float my business for the 6 months that it was closed during lockdown. But on the other, that also caused us to have to reevaluate some of the spending habits around day-to-day life in the house, and what sorts of things I could give access to the kids for. So,
what kind of strategies or tips did you put in place in order to build that cushion for yourself?
So for me as a business owner, I've been full-time working for myself since 2014. Mm-hmm. So I knew when I made that jump, especially as a parent, I need to have things in order in case of the, unforeseen whatever. Of course, I didn't anticipate a pandemic would ever hit, but that's just what life was. So for me, the strategy looked more like being mindful, even on a regular ongoing basis, of stashing things aside when there's a little bit more that comes in, putting that aside, even something as simple as tips that I'd receive from my clients. A portion of that would go to a fun fund, and then a portion of that goes to savings, because you just never know.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you've been able to do with your fun fund?
Take my littles on vacation. That's one of my favorite things. So we have a rule in my family, for example. There are certain types of contracts that I might take on, and if the revenue that I bring in from those contracts, they immediately go to the fun fund. If I work those types of contracts, we're going on vacation. Or even just, going through the store and seeing my daughter's eyes light up over that pair of shoes. It makes me happy to know that I have the ability to do that for her, to get that for her.
And so how did you build that savings mindset? Is it something maybe that your parents instilled in you?
My dad raised me. I'm the eldest of 7 children. My dad raised me as a single father. And through the majority of my upbringing, there were 3 of us. And he was doing that on a staff sergeant's pay in the 90s, right? So there was not a lot of financial flexibility. And my dad, I remember at that time him trying to save and put things away. So that kind of set a precedence for me of there's an importance to savings. Part of that was seeing some of the challenges that he experienced in raising us, and where I saw him trying to do better, and then growing from that and kind of just standing, on his shoulders in that way. And part of that also was my own experience as a parent.
What would you say for people who maybe make a low to moderate income and feel I just can't really save right now?
You never know what might come your way. And the best advocate for you is you in most circumstances. And so it's my feeling that even if you're just putting away small amounts, something small can grow rather than just not saving at all and finding yourself kind of at the mercy of the powers that be around you in whatever circumstance you're finding.
What would you say that financial confidence means to you? How would you define that?
It means feeling empowered. It's very empowering to know that disaster can hit and I have the capacity to navigate that, because you never know what that circumstance may be. So that's not to necessarily say, oh, I've got it all in the bag and I'm set. Mm-hmm. But because I know that I have the tools, the knowledge, the resources, even if I don't have it already, I know how to get it, or I know how to generate it. And that is incredibly empowering as well.
So it sounds to me like you have really, over the years, built the habit of savings. And we say often at America Saves, and we also say this at Military Saves, that saving is a habit, not a destination. It's not about how much money is in the bank necessarily. It's about, kind of like what you said, having the tools and knowing that you have the ability to save. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Chelsea.
Thanks for having me.